welcome back to a new video, guys. And as you can see from the background, we're at Darkside Development in Barnsley, and I've taken my S5 here because it's been sort of long awaited. I mean, at some point all these 4.2 V8s, they get a massive carbon build-up, which ends up your car running lumpy or probably lacking in power. Now, I'm not sure whether my car is lacking in power, but it is running a little bit lumpy. But these guys have got a rolling road, which we're going to get the S5 on before we do the carbon clean, and then afterwards, so you guys can see the power increase that it's hopefully going to make as well. This is something that, if you've got a 4.2 V8, you need to get it done at some point. So, without further ado, I think it's time to get the S5 in there, get it on the dyno for the first time. Let's go.
Need a money counter, I broke my thumb from thumbing down. Wifey on my line, she told me to dumb it down. Mama on my line, asking how I'm dumbing now. I think you only love me cause I'm poppin'. This a layup, this a rebound, then it's right me.
So first things first, guys, it is about to get on the dyno for the first really run that we've ever had on the dyno to see what sort of power it's pulling, how much power it's lost over the years. Obviously it's on 89,000 miles, we don't know whether that is true or not. Well, we know that it's not 100% true from the previous videos, but we're going to see what it goes now. James has just health checked it, took it around the block, checked, plugged in all his computer. He's found sort of one fault which has came up, which is a lambda sensor, which possibly could be something to do with the carbon buildup inside. But let's get it running on the dyno, let's get straight into it, and let's see what power it's running. So on the screen behind me, quite disappointingly, it's done 3 runs. One was a little setup run and then 2 afterwards. On the first run, we're running 232 horsepower, and on the second run we ran 236 horsepower. So these are meant to be 350 odd horsepower from standard. So somewhere along the lines of ownership, it's lost about 100 brake. But to lose over 100 brake is pretty dramatic. But James thinks that it's running right. There's it's idling a little bit rough, but we'll open the intake now and we'll find out whether there's much carbon build up, and we'll walnut blast it anyway, get it back on the dyno and see if we can actually increase that 236 bhp, because at the minute my Audi TT was was pulling much better figures than this Audi S5. Let's see what happens. Let's get it off the dyno and into the workshop. So we're in the Darkside Development workshop now, and the guys are about to start taking off the intake manifold off the Audi S5, and we're in quite a familiar spot with the bonnet open. So I think we're just going to kick to a time lapse on the GoPro, probably do a few little close-ups, explain what's going on throughout the whole thing. But I think let's get onto it, and hopefully we find some massive carbon build-up, and we're going to use the walnut blaster to clear that all up, get it back on the dyno, and let's see how this thing goes, guys. So off we go. So guys, the intake manifold is off, and the technician's got it to the side there, and from what it looks like, it's been off before. The injector plugs, I'll show you a little clip now, have been some kind of bodge job, and we can't really work out why someone has done it. I mean, the pins which connect the electrical connectors are, well, not original, as you can see. But as for the inside, the carbon, well, as we suspect, it's been off before, so maybe it's had a clean before, but the carbon's not as bad as what I thought it was going to be, but it's still to an extent there, so it still does need cleaning. The intake manifold as well, with the sort of swirl flaps on it, we think that's been split apart as well and maybe cleaned at some point, because it is resealed with some sort of silicone. But as the injectors go, we have no idea why that sort of bodge job has been done. Let's get this thing clean, walnut blasted, and all put back together. So on to the next step. So now the inside of the engine has fully been walnut blasted and it's nice and clean, as you can see from the clip rolling at the minute. Also, one thing that we have noticed as well, there's little sort of, I think they're called swirl flaps, which are meant to be inside each of the chambers, and they've actually been removed already, so that is something that people do. They do remove them as well. Also, we'll gather up why we're actually doing this, so the people that don't know. So these Audi S5s, obviously they're a direct injection engine, so that meaning the injector is injecting fuel directly into the combustion chamber. But the problem is, with being a direct injection, as well as the engines like the Audi TT as well, that was a direct injection, when the fuel is being squirted into the engine, over time it leaves a residue sort of on top of the valves, as you saw previously, which then becomes a carbon build-up. The carbon build-up then obviously restricts the airflow of the engine, which restricts the power, and it's just an ongoing thing. So that is why we're cleaning it up, and it is quite a common thing on these direct injection engines. So I think that's right. If I'm wrong, you're probably going to let me know in the comments anyway that I am wrong, but the car is nice and cleaned up now. We're going to put the inlet back on and take it back on the dyno. So a few people might be asking as well, why have you not taken the injectors out to clean them and that? Well, reason being is precisely this. Zip ties and some sort of form of bodge job there. So I just fear that when we take them all out and we start touching with them and messing with something that is not meant to be there, when we go to start the car later, it might not work how it should. So that's the reason why, but we are carbon cleaned up anyway, so that should make a big difference anyway. So let's carry on. Right, so the S5 is all back together and started up not too bad at all. Let's see if it's actually made any power. Obviously we have that injector issue, and maybe the injectors need to be changed at a future stage. Probably will. You're probably going to kill me in the comments for not taking the injectors out. I just didn't want to mess with them. Being so far from home in Barnsley, we didn't really prepare the injectors to be like that. This is going to be an in and out one-day job. So we've got to find where those 100 horsepowers went. Right, so we're ready to go for the dyno run. Let's hope we get a little increase, so come on. Okay, dyno runs have done, and you know what? You've watched my videos. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys and completely transparent about what we've done. And good news, it has increased in horsepower. Bad news, we're still losing about 100 bhp from somewhere. So obviously these are meant to be 350 odd horsepower standard. We're still slightly under that. So from looking at the graphs, we ran before the Walnut Blast 232 horsepower on the first run, and on the second run we ran 236 horsepower. Now after the Walnut Blast we ran a 239 horsepower run, and then on the second one we ran a 242. It's an increase in 6 horsepower, so I know it's not a massive increase, but 6 horsepower is quite a fair bit in a naturally aspirated engine. As for the extra 100 bhp or so, I don't know where that's gone. The guys are sort of investigating that, and it could be to do with the injectors. That's something we've got to investigate. Maybe we'll find out in this video, maybe we'll find out in the next video. But overall, good news, we're running a little bit more horsepower now. I might get home a little bit quicker. So at least now we know, for peace of mind, that the engine is now fully decarboned. And what a way to end the day. It's finished, we gained some power, and we've also lost over 100 horsepower somewhere. So I'll let you guys discuss in the comments where you think that 100 horsepower goes, but obviously the project continues. We will try and find that 100 horsepower somewhere. It's got to be some sort of fault, but from what these guys have found so far, it doesn't look too untoward. The car's running fine, it's pulling okay, but we're just very, very underpowered. So we'll find it, don't worry, we will find the problem. But I have already booked it in for an exhaust system, so we will be going to get the exhaust system. That will be happening this weekend, so the video will be going live next week, so I'm excited for the exhaust to go on that. Guys, remember to check out Darkside Developments. All of them have been great today. The technicians, the tuners, even the guys in the reception, everyone's been really helpful and handy. So make sure you go and follow them on Instagram. The link is in the description box below. Check out the website as well, it's all in the description box below. Hope you've enjoyed this video, it's been interesting. Thanks for watching, we'll see you in the next video, guys.